One fight that's actually been signed recently is a fight between Mikey Garcia and Regis Prograis. Now, I'm actually looking forward to this particular fight. For some reason, Mikey Garcia, like since his last fight, I think against Jesse Vargas, the fight before that he fought Errol Spence. There was a time when Mikey Garcia was seen as a top 5 pound for pound type talent in the sport of boxing. There was a time when a lot of people thought that he should have been he would have been one of the few fights that would have given Lomachenko a very good fight and probably could have beaten him. And I'm probably going to make a separate video about that. But right now, since his loss to Errol Spence, a lot of fighters have actually turned their back on Mikey Garcia in a sense. They don't really see him as a top 10 pound for pound type fighter. I remember after he beat Broner, a lot of people saw him in that type of way. They were like, this guy's really good. Like, they saw him in that way. Obviously, when he fought Errol Spence, I think he bit off more than he can chew, because Errol Spence is obviously a welterweight, a big welterweight at that as well. And obviously, Mikey Garcia is probably more of a light welterweight. So when he went up there in weight and fought the likes of Errol Spence, there's just no way he was going to beat him, because the size difference was just too significant. On top of that, Errol Spence is a very talented fighter. So in terms of I think this, if he can get a win against Regis Prograis, that would be a good way for him to actually get back into the good books of most boxing fans. Unfortunately, boxing fans are very reactionary. As soon as you lose a fight, they kind of cast you out. The same thing happened with Lomachenko, ironically. As soon as he lost to Teofimo Lopez, the hype surrounding him is just not as big as it once was. So yeah, this fight I'm very excited for. Regis Prograis is a very good fighter. The only fighter that he's lost to is Josh Taylor, and Josh Taylor has actually just beaten Ramirez and unified the light welterweight division. And you can argue that Regis Prograis actually gave Josh Taylor the hardest fight of his career, which is very impressive, because Josh Taylor, legitimately, in my opinion, is like a top 5 pound for pound type fighter. The last 5 opponents that he fought were all undefeated, apart from Victor Postol, and the only loss that Victor Postol had was against Terence Crawford, who a lot of people think is a top 3 pound for pound type fighter. So in my opinion, Regis Prograis is a really good fighter, and if the decision actually did go to Regis Prograis in that fight against Josh Taylor, I don't think a lot of people would have said that fight was a robbery, because Regis Prograis, I thought Josh Taylor clearly won that fight, but Regis Prograis gave him a hell of a fight. So for both fighters, they've got their work cut out. Regis Prograis is going up against Mikey Garcia, who's a top 5 pound for pound type talent in his heyday before he fought Errol Spence. And Mikey Garcia is going up against Regis Prograis, who gave Josh Taylor probably the hardest fight of his career. So this is a fight that I'm really looking forward to. In terms of picking who I think is going to win this particular fight, I'm not actually sure at this moment in time. I'm going to sit on the fence, because obviously you could say Mikey Garcia has more experience. This is a dude that went in there against so many good fighters and is beaten most of them. The only fighter that he lost to was Errol Spence, and the main reason why he lost was because he was out of his natural weight class. So in a sense, you can say that Mikey Garcia is undefeated in the lightweight division. He only got beaten when he went up in weight, and in that fight he never got stopped as well, which I think you need to give him some credit for. So and on top of that, you got Regis Prograis, who arguably gave Josh Taylor the best fight of his career. And you can argue, if somebody argued and said that he won that fight, I wouldn't actually argue back, because it was such a close fight. So yeah, in this particular fight, I think I'm going to sit on the fence. I think both of them have got a legitimate chance of beating each other, but I think it's one of them fights that is on the night. Whoever performs on the night is probably going to win that fight. So yeah, that's my opinion on the particular fight. Tell me what you think below. Like and subscribe. I've got a lot more content coming your way. Peace out.